Okay, hi, Dance 100, Dance 101 students. Welcome to the second lecture. This week we're going to be looking and talking about what makes dance dance. Hopefully you've already received your book in the mail by now. This is what it looks like, Looking at Dance by James Clouser. And have been able to go through the first chapter, which is what is dance? And Mr. Clouser talks about what defines dance. Is it some people define it as doing any sort of movement in heated emotion. So would that mean that a child who is 2 years old who's having a temper tantrum, are they doing a dance? Or somebody who throws something in a fit of rage, is that a dance? Because that is movement empowered by emotion. And obviously that's not what we're considering dance for this class. What we're considering dance is the statement that dance is defined as the expression of physical, emotional, and intellectual urges through rhythmic, ordered, and dynamic human movement. And so I think what that really means is that you're doing movement with intent to express rhythm and movement, okay? Dynamic movement. And that's really what we're going to be looking at throughout this course. Dance has been around for thousands of years. Dance has always been part of culture and society. And some of the dance that we will look at is called social dance. And so social dance serves the function of bringing people together, maybe celebrating a cultural pastime or some sort of event that is happening, a harvest or a wedding. And we still do this today. And all of our dances look a little different. So some of you may be familiar with country line dancing. That's definitely a form of social dance expressing a certain genre and subculture within our society. And there's also several other types of cultural dances. For example, there's Greek folk dancing and Greek wedding folk dancing, which looks very different than what you would see at, say, an Iranian wedding or an Iranian folk dance. Also in the book, he goes on to talk about some people like to equate animal movements with dance. And while maybe sometimes their mating rituals or whatnot may look like a duet of some sort, I don't believe that I don't believe that we have animals that spontaneously burst out into dance as an expression. But we do have several dances that imitate lots of different animals. So you'll see that in some of the Native American dances. And we also see it on some of the videos we're going to watch today. So the first video I wanted to look at is actually from So You Think You Can Dance. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that show. I have mixed feelings about it. I think it's good to bring dance into popular culture, theater dance into popular culture, but their dances are so short, and sometimes I feel like they are exploiting the dancers because the performers don't actually make any money. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and take a look at this first dance, which is a duet, and it's imitating hummingbirds. Okay, just a minute. Still getting used to this. Okay, so you can see that dance was obviously inspired by the hummingbird mating dance, and I definitely believe that that would be a very good form of theater dance, imitating nature. So let's go on to our PowerPoint here. I'm going to try the screen share one more time. But feel free to ask questions. You can do that with your question and answer. It's on the left-hand side. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen now. So if you are interested in looking at dance, it can be found anywhere, on the street, in the home, on the stage, at a wedding, at the clubs, in a ballroom, movies, beach, television. Just right here is a picture of Mr. Clauser and his daughter-in-law at his son's wedding. This is breakdancing, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. So what is dance? Let's see, go back. Dance is the expression of physical, emotional, intellectual urges through rhythmic, ordered, and dynamic human movement. Now that's a very important thing to remember and maybe write down, because this is what we're looking at in this class. We're going to look at very structured with the intent to perform dancing. So what is rhythm? It's not just the beat, okay? The rhythm is a repeated pattern and emphasis. So you may hear it in the waltz, so 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or in rock and roll, it might be more of just a steady beat. A ballet score by Igor Stravinsky would be a very complicated rhythm. So there's a lot of different ways to look at rhythm, but it's not just the beat, it's the melody and the patterns of emphasis. So where is the music being emphasized? And what is order? So some people prefer their orders and their dances to be neat. And we're not talking about tidiness, we're talking about a very controlled dance, a very controlled sequence of events involving a conscious decision. So ballet would be a very controlled, ordered dance. Some other things to think about when we're looking at order of dance is, where is the dance starting? How long will it last? How many dancers are there? Even if there's only one dancer, how does that dancer use the space? And if he's improvising, which means that he doesn't have a controlled sequence of events, he or she is performing and doing whatever movements he feels at that moment or is being inspired by through the music and or content that he or she is hearing. How do we know when that dance is over? So these are important questions to think about as we go into next week and we talk about our first reflection. You're going to be watching a very detailed dance, and all of these questions will be important to write down in your first reflection. So I want to know, where do you think this dance starts? How long does it last, etc. And this PowerPoint is also posted up on the content in the documents section. So if you'd like to go revisit without me reading it to you and read it yourself, you're welcome to do that. So dynamic. All right, oftentimes I think when we use dynamic in a vernacular way, we mean maybe different level changes, okay? But the real meaning is it's vigorous and powerful, okay? So not that it went bright and then dark or high and then low, but what is the dynamic of the movement? And it's vigorous and powerful. That's what makes a dynamic dance. So breakdancing is a very contemporary form of a dynamic dance. It's a powerful, strong dance. African dance would be another multicultural form of a dynamic type of dance. All right. What does it take besides a dancer to make dancing theatrical? Okay, and this is what it really takes. It means that there's a place, a very set, well-intentioned place to dance. There's an audience, there's lighting, There's probably a costume and maybe some other music or sound accompaniment. And that's what we're talking about when we're thinking of theater dance, okay? It's very intentional. It's very intentional in this, like we were saying, the space, the costumes, the lighting, and the order of the dance, the sequence, and the controlled movements. And every culture, as I said earlier in this lecture, every culture has a dance. Many cultures have a very long and dynamic, okay, we're using that, changing over time, and vigorous and powerful history of theater dance. For example, in Japan is actually the oldest, kabuki is the oldest theater dance that we know of in dance history. And that started well over, I want to say 1,000 years ago. I'll have to look that up for you, but it is the oldest theater dance. And we have China's Peking opera, another very old dance. The India's dancing. And this, we will do a section on world dance, but primarily for the purposes of this class, we're going to be focusing on theater dance in Western civilization, with, of course, an emphasis in dance in America. So we're going to look at a lot of different changes in dance that's happened in the United States, but we will also branch out and see how other cultures, and you'll see, because it's America, we are this melting pot of cultures. Our dance is the same way. So even though we are emphasizing on dance in America is very multicultural and gets its influence throughout the world. First, let's look at the cradle of Western civilization. So we have Greece, really is sort of the impetus of what we know of today as Western civilization. And a lot of this had to do with the trading routes from east and west, okay? And that was a good sort of middle area to meet. And all of these ideas and cultures sort of come together in this cradle of Western civilization. Here's a picture of a Greek amphitheater in Sicily. So you can see they just, they had a very intentional space to dance. It is outside, but you can see that they have the proscenium type theater with the rows that's carved out of stone and a very, very beautiful backdrop, a stage. So we get a lot of our ideals and culture comes from Greece. Maybe one of the most popular ones that today is our democracy. So we still are holding on to some of that great Greek civilization. And right here we're looking at a picture of Apollo. Apollo is considered to have dominion over music, dance, poetry, healing, reason, and intellectualism. Okay, and this on the picture in the upper left-hand side is Apollo dancing with the muses, okay? And all the muses, he had a muse of poetry, a muse of music, a muse of dance, a muse of literature. He's very much a very ordered and harmonious way of moving. And so when you look back to ancient Greece and you look through some of the architecture, the pictures of the dances, and some of the studies that have looked into archaic Greek dancing, the Apollonian dances are very ordered and two-dimensional, very precise. So he is, oops, where'd I go? Sorry. That's strange, hold on. Okay, here we are. So he's the god of youth and light. Make sure I want to make sure I'm still doing this. Okay, you can see, okay. So go back to Dionysus. So in Dionysus, we have the opposite. So in nature and in culture, we always have this sort of dichotomy of order and disorder, black and white, heaven, hell, very much, yin, yang. We have all of in most societies, we have this balance, good weather, bad weather, we have this balance of energies. And so in the Greek culture, they celebrated Dionysus. He was the god of wine and drunken revelry in Greek mythology. And he was the patron of theater and the fertility god. And so he's often contrasted with his half-brother Apollo, where Apollo personifies the cerebral aspects of mankind. Dionysus represents the physical, the libido, the gratification aspect of mankind. And you'll see this in dance a lot. You'll see this sort of Apollonian control of dance, and then the Dionysius forces. People get tired of that codification and that order, and the Dionysian forces come through and do the complete opposite, and there's this sort of ecstatic frenzy about it. So I just put a little bit in here about Greek mythology, so I thought it was interesting to juxtapose the Apollonian dances of the Muses and the very ordered structures of the Apollo temple with this statue of the Maenads celebrating Dionysus. So they're pictured here crowned with vine leaves, dancing in wild abandonment, in complete union with primeval nature. Oh, here's some more pictures of, you can see on the right-hand side, the second picture down is the line and circle dances. This is a very Apollonian dance. Okay, and then on the bottom left-hand side, you have a more chaotic, more sensual dancing of the Dionysian. And that dance in particular that they did to celebrate Dionysus was the Dithyramb. And the Dithyramb was sort of, I don't know, like a giant rave would be today. That's what I'm guessing. And there's some pictures that showing how these dances have continued to pass through society. There's some of the Greek wedding dance today and the Greek folk dance. And this started back in the time when the Greek civilization was really the stronghold for our Western culture. So I'm going to take a moment to take a break from the PowerPoint and show you some traditional Greek folk dancing. Okay, and here we go. Okay. All right, so we get an idea of how dance has always been a part of and continues to play a role in society, and how some of these old dances are still happening today in contemporary worlds. There's one more I'd like to show you, is a Persian line dance. This was just done last September, and also another example of a very old dance that, even while the music is changing to become more contemporary and more modern, the steps are still very much the same.
ساده بیشتره انقدر زیباست لبخندت که اخمامو میشکنه من خاموشم اما مطمئنم که قلب تو روشنه واسه یه بار بشین به پای حرفام از سر قلبم تو رو میخوام وابستت شدم و به تو کردم عادت دیوونتم عشقم تو باید مال من باشی مال من باشی وابستت شدم و به تو کردم عادت دیوونتم عشقم تو باید مال من باشی مال من باشی قد مهربانی که هیچی نمیخواد از صاف بگذره حسی که من دارم به تو از یه عشق ساده بیشتره انقدر دلنشین خیالت که هر لحظه ای با منه من زندم و نفسم فقط با وجود گرم تو میزنه واسه یه بار بشین به پای حرفام از سر قلبم تو رو میخوام وابستت شدم دارم به تو از یه عشق ساده بیشتره.
Okay, so this gives you an idea of some of the line dances, some of the social dancing, and some of the impetus where dance, as we know it in our theater dance world today, has come from. So we have influences from nature, we have influences from very old cultures, and that's going to wrap up our lecture for today. I realized that some of you were confused when maybe signing up for this class, but I saw some of the posts that said, oh, my friends took this class and they said it was was a great class and highly recommended it. Unfortunately, they were probably talking about Dance 100, which is an in-person lecture class. And so you are missing out on that face-to-face personing, you know, touching people, doing line dances with each other, kind of dancing. So I thought that in order to offer that opportunity, I would give extra credit to anybody who wants to get together with another person in this class. You can, the emails are on the roster, so you can contact each other and you can learn a line dance or a social dance. You can either send it, YouTube videos, send it to me directly, or maybe more fun would be to post it on the bulletin and we can all share in that experience together. I'll post my favorite social dance personally is disco dancing. I think it's because I was born in the 70s and I used to win a lot of disco queen competitions. So I will post a video of the Saturday Night Fever disco dance so that we can all be in this together. All right, I hope that you enjoyed today's videos and PowerPoint. I will have the assignment that will be due next Friday. I'll have the assignment up in the next few minutes. Have a great weekend and go dancing.